Terrifier is a brutal slasher film that follows the horrific events of one Halloween night in 2017 as two young women become the prey of a terrifying and sadistic killer, Art the Clown. And the film is absolutely brutal. It's definitely a grindhouse horror movie, which not a lot of people enjoy. I kind of think this whole trilogy is more of like a splatter trilogy, a mix of like torture, corn, and, slashers, but that's just my opinion, and, this is pretty much what this entire video is going to be. So, without further ado, let's talk about the original film, Terrifier. The movie begins with a disturbing TV interview featuring a disfigured woman who survived an attack by Art the Clown. She says that her killer pretty much just ruined her life, and the TV interviewer isn't any nice, I must say. She is a pretty rude person. Like, literally the moment, Victoria gets off stage, she is just there and starts talking about how, disgusting and, horrifying and creepy she looks. She's like, kill me if I ever look like that. Well, so she gets, brutally killed by Victoria, and then we get to our leads. So, it's pretty much a year before this happens, and we follow Tara and Dawn. They're out celebrating on Halloween night. After a night of partying and getting absolutely wrecked, they encounter Art the Clown, a pale, silent figure dressed in a filthy black and white clown costume with a nice smile. Look at the guy. He's just a happy dude. The pair brush off the encounter, but later, when they find their car has a flat tire, they end up at a nearby abandoned building. And they stay in the car. One of them does, Dawn does, Tara goes off to use the bathroom, and the clown sits in the car, and he's just like, yo, what's up? So yeah, inside the building, Tara talks to this electrician dude, and he's just like, alright, go over there, do I need to come with you, And then she's just like, no, you creep. So she goes to the bathroom, and once she's done using the bathroom, she comes outside, and she spots everyone's favourite clown, Art. And yeah, Art then, he does some fun stuff. So, Tara gets, nailed to a chair, and while she's just there, looking forward, watching, the show, Art grabs a saw, and he reveals that Dawn is hanging upside down in her underwear. And then he grabs a saw, and he's just like, yeah, if you know what I mean, he just starts sawing away. I mean, look at that, happiness that he does this with. I've had to blur half of this, but look at how happy Art the Clown is while doing this. He's just a fun guy. But yeah, Tara then fights back, and she gets away for a little bit. a little bit. But yeah, Art the Clown then eventually finds her, and he shoots her in the legs, knocking her down. But then, by God, he runs out of bullets. So he walks over, he grabs some more bullets, while Tara's just lying there, not moving. If my legs weren't working, I would literally still use my arms, and I would be, how you move your arms while you're swimming? I would be doing that as fast as I could, just get away from him. But yeah, so he comes over, and he shoots her once, twice, a third time, and a bunch of other times that I couldn't be bothered to count. And he kills her. And at this point, Tara's sister arrives to pick her up, but she's unaware of what's happening inside. So he just continues his fun little game, and he hunts her down, but then he sees the guy. The exterminator dude. So he kills him, and then he sees this lady who earlier in the film was, talking to this doll. I guess she thinks it's, her child. I don't know. But she walks over and she sees that Art the Clown is holding him, and she's just like, "Hey, that's my kid. Get away from me, you perv." So he then does some very wonderful things to her, and in the next scene we see Art the Clown walking up the, he's having a little fun rocking up the stairs, with her breasts on and her scalp on. Fun times. This is another one of those scenes that the movie's like really infamous for, just because, well, he cuts a woman's breasts off and he sticks them on. But yeah, so Art then just continues doing what Art the Clown does, and he has more fun. At some point, he literally gets in a truck and then just like bursts through the damn building while playing some jazz. But ultimately, he jumps on top of Victoria. I was about to say Veronica for some reason. He jumps on top of Victoria, and he starts eating her face. Then some cops show up, they shoot him, and, well, that's pretty much the end of the story, because that's where we get to a little bit later. And that's where Terrifier ends. I didn't go over every little plot point, because I'm too lazy for that, but let's talk about the actual movie, because Terrifier is directed by Damien Leone, and it was released in 2016. It definitely, is a reinvention of some typical slasher movies with a very gruesome but fresh approach to it, you know? It's got the really cool killer Art the Clown in it, and he's probably one of my favourite slasher villains at the moment, especially after Terrifier 3. And it is unapologetically brutal. It offers no just promise that it's gonna stop at any point. From its opening scene, the film just says it doesn't care about subtlety or any tension. It's about the gore and the kills. In this sense, it definitely goes back to some older films which people thought were just like this, such as Friday the 13th or TCM, which in my opinion are both not about the kills. I feel this OG Terrifier movie definitely is though. And it's got a greater emphasis on the violence more than those movies. Art the Clown is the star of the show. He is played by the amazing David Howard Thornton. And he's just a silent antagonist. He is a mime, he is a clown, he is a demon thing. He doesn't laugh, he doesn't speak, he doesn't make any sound, yet his disturbing gestures and just gleeful way that he kills people is just really cool. His performance is definitely the way which I would want a mime, serial killer to in a movie, of course, not IRL. his performance is definitely the way which I want a mime serial killer to work, where they're just really giddy and really happy doing all of this stuff, and they don't speak, they don't laugh, they just are terrifying the whole time. The film's gore and practical effects are amazing, especially considering its really low budget. Director Damien Leone, who also handled the makeup and effects, he spares no expense when it comes to the blood and guts. And it definitely has several scenes that are not for the faint of heart, like the saw scene, the when Art puts on a woman's breasts, the two probably most infamous scenes in this movie, which once again leads on to the next movie, which has even more infamous scenes. And now the third movie has one scene which I think is gonna get it up there. And the film doesn't really have any narrative though, which is my main issue with the movie. It's really just gore for the sake of gore. Whereas 2, it has a story, it has characters which you can genuinely care about. Bit too much story for my liking, but still, this one is all gore, and the characters, they could literally be slabs of meat, and you just wouldn't care at all. You'd probably not notice, that we're not really watching Terrifier for the characters, we're watching it for the gore. Ultimately, this film's not for everyone. It's definitely just focused on the gore and the violence. It creates a minimalist plot and makes it really just polarizing within the horror community, as we've seen recently with the release of a new one. However, for fans of extreme horror and practical effects, and for fans of Art the Clown, this definitely stands out as one the most memorable horror films of recent years. Just because of how different it is from other films where they'll try and steer away from too much violence. The director of Spiral from the Book of Saw, I think, literally wanted to make that like a Saw movie without kills, which I was just like, what the hell? But yeah, it definitely lacks any narrative though, which is definitely like not a good thing. You know, your movie has to have some sort of narrative. But ultimately, I still think this film's pretty cool. I still give it like a 6.5 out of 10, but it's not the best and it's not the worst thing out there.